In a world tucked away inside a big wooden desk, there was a drawer. This wasn't just any drawer. It was a place of forgotten things, a land of lost treasures, a jumbled, tumbled, cluttered kingdom of bits and bobs. It was a place where lonely buttons and sleepy rubber bands rested next to sleepy, dusty bits of fluff. The air inside was quiet and smelled of old paper and sweet pencil shavings. And in a quiet corner of this cluttered kingdom lived a very small, very round, and very shiny magnet named Maggie. Maggie was no bigger than a ladybug's spot. She was smooth and cool and perfectly content to rest by the wooden wall of the drawer. From her corner she could see everything. She saw the mountain of mismatched socks, soft and lumpy. She saw the forest of forgotten pencils, some sharp, some dull, lying like fallen trees. She saw a single lonely googly eye that had lost its toy, and a crinkled piece of wrapping paper that still held the memory of a happy birthday. The drawer was a mess. It was a beautiful, wonderful, colorful mess, but a mess all the same. Sometimes when the desk shook, things would shift and slide. A crayon might roll a little, or a paperclip might clink against a coin. Maggie watched it all. A tiny feeling, a little hum deep inside her, wished that everything had a place. It felt a little confusing to see a bright red crayon next to a serious gray thumbtack. The drawer felt noisy to her, even in the quiet. One morning the drawer was pulled open and then pushed shut with a great big rumble. The whole world inside tumbled and tossed. The sock mountain avalanched. The pencil forest rolled. And everything that was on top was now on the bottom, and everything that was on the bottom was now somewhere in the middle. When the dust settled, Maggie peeked out from her corner. The clutter was even more cluttered than before. And then she saw it. A tiny gray ear sticking out from under a tangle of paperclips and a twist of yarn. It was her friend, a little felt mouse who was usually propped up against the back of the drawer, but now he was buried under the mess. He looked so small and lost. A feeling bloomed inside Maggie, a feeling she had never felt so strongly before. It was a feeling of wanting to help. It was a feeling of needing to make things right. It was a strong, warm feeling like a tiny sun glowing inside her. And with that feeling came something else. A strange, gentle tingle. A soft, invisible hum. It was a pulling feeling. She focused on the mess in front of her. It was a jumble of everything. But what was closest? A pile of shiny metallic paper clips. They gleamed and glittered in the dim light that peeked through the top of the drawer. Maggie focused on their shininess, their silvery color. And as she did, the pulling feeling grew stronger, aimed right at them. It was a gentle tug, a whisper of a pull. She realized she had a special power. A magical magnetic power. She could help her friend. She could bring order to the chaos. But where could she even begin in such a cluttered place? She decided to start with the first thing she felt a pull towards. She would gather all the shiny, silvery things and put them together. With a gentle hum and a happy little pull, Maggie set off to make things wonderful. Her first task was to make a path through the jumble. She focused all her energy on the color silver. The pulling feeling inside her was now cool and bright, like a tiny star. She looked at the closest paperclip. It was a beautiful metallic silver. She hummed her little magnetic hum and wiggled just a bit. Slowly, oh so slowly, the paperclip shivered. It lifted from the pile and floated through the air, right to her. Clink! It settled beside her. Maggie felt a tiny fizz of happiness. It worked. She looked around for more. Her silver-seeking senses were tingling. There. Another silver paperclip and another. She pulled them one by one, watching them sail through the air like tiny silver spaceships. She made a neat little pile in her corner. The pile grew shiny and bright. It was a pile of silver. Now that the first few paperclips were cleared, she could see a little farther. Her journey had begun. To get to the next part of the drawer, she had to cross the Valley of Lost Lint. It was a soft, gray, fluffy place where little dust bunnies slept. Maggie rolled gently through, the fluff tickling her shiny sides. On the other side of the valley, she saw something else. What was that shiny glint hiding under a dusty feather? She focused her pull. It felt smooth and flat and round. It was a button. A lovely silver button with 4 little holes in the middle. It must have popped off a favorite shirt long ago. The button was heavier than the paper clips. Maggie had to hum a little louder, her pulling feeling getting stronger and steadier. She pulled and pulled, and the button wiggled free from under the feather. It slid across the wooden floor of the drawer, making a quiet "fang" sound, until it came to rest with her other silver treasures. The drawer was already starting to look a little bit better. Just a little. A small patch of wood was clear, and her shiny silver pile was growing. Maggie felt proud. This was good work. Helping felt good. Organizing felt calm. She continued her journey, rolling carefully around a big, forgotten cashew nut. Ahead of her was a mountain range of folded, crinkly papers. To get over them, she had to find a path. As she looked, she saw something long and thin and very, very shiny peeking out from under a grocery list. It was another silver thing. It had a decorated top and a long, jagged bottom. It was a key. A mysterious silver key. This was the biggest silver thing yet. Maggie knew she would need all of her silver pulling strength. She took a moment, feeling the cool metallic energy inside her. She aimed it right at the key. The key did not move. It was stuck tight. A tiny shiver of doubt ran through Maggie. Was it too heavy? Was she not strong enough? She looked over toward the tiny gray ear of her felt mouse friend. He was still waiting. She had to be strong. She had to keep trying. She closed her eyes, or what would have been her eyes if she had them, and focused harder than she ever had before. The hum inside her grew from a tiny whisper to a steady buzzing song. She pulled. The key wiggled. She pulled harder. The key scraped against the wood. With one final mighty pull, the silver key slid out from under the paper and zoomed across the drawer, coming to a stop with a loud clang right next to the button and the paper clips. Maggie had done it. She had rescued the mysterious silver key. She looked at her collection. The long jagged key. The smooth round button. The twisty turny paper clips. All of them were different, but they were all the same color. A beautiful, gleaming metallic silver. The first corner of the drawer was tidy. It was her silver corner. Feeling very happy, she looked ahead to see what came next. With the silver things all gathered, the drawer looked a little more open. A path was clearing. But now Maggie saw the next challenge. A great soft, tangled wall of fuzzy yarn blocked her way. It was a warm, bright color. The color of a juicy apple, the color of a fire truck. It was red. And mixed in with the yarn were other red things, like little berries lost in a fuzzy forest. Maggie knew what she had to do. It was time to switch her focus. She let go of the cool, metallic feeling of silver and thought about this new color. She thought about warmth. She thought about cherry jam and ladybugs. A new feeling started to bubble up inside her. It was a warm, cozy pull. Her magnetic hum changed its tune. It was now a soft, pulsing beat. She was ready to find all the red things. With a gentle hum and a warm red pull, Maggie set off to make things wonderful. The tangle of red yarn was the biggest thing. It was too big to pull all at once. Maggie noticed a little red object stuck right in the middle of it. It was small and round like the silver button, but it felt different. It felt like warm plastic, not cool metal. It was a little red button from a doll's coat. She focused her warm red pull on it. The button jiggled, caught in the fuzzy yarn strands. Maggie pulled gently, not wanting to make the tangle worse. She imagined she was gently unwrapping a present. She pulled one way, then the other, and pop! The little red button came free and rolled right to her. She nudged it over to a new empty corner. This would be her red corner. One red thing found. Looking closely at the yarn wall, she saw more red treasures. Hiding near the bottom was the tip of a waxy crayon. It was a small broken piece, but its color was a deep, happy red. This pull felt different. The crayon was heavier than the button, and it didn't slide as easily. It felt waxy and a little sticky against the wood. Maggie hummed her warmest, strongest hum. The red crayon nub scraped along, leaving a faint pinkish-red streak on the floor of the drawer. It looked like a tiny snail trail. Finally, the crayon settled next to the button. The red corner now had two things. Her path was still blocked by the yarn. But as she pulled the crayon free, she noticed something else tangled in the fuzzy mess. It was long and stretchy. It was a red rubber band. It was looped around one of the fallen pencil trees. Maggie thought for a moment. If she pulled too hard, it might snap. And that could send everything flying and make an even bigger mess. This called for a very careful, very steady pull. Organization wasn't just about pulling hard. It was about being gentle and smart. She aimed her magnetic feeling at the part of the rubber band that was farthest away. She gave it a tiny tug. The rubber band stretched. A little more. Stretched a little farther. She could see it loosening from the pencil. She pulled it gently, gently, like she was waking up a sleepy kitten. The rubber band slipped off the pencil with a soft thwomp and landed in a little loop on the floor. Maggie was relieved. She carefully rolled the red rubber band over to her red corner, placing it next to the waxy crayon and the plastic button. With the rubber band gone, the great wall of yarn seemed to relax. It slumped a little, and a small opening appeared. A tunnel through the fuzzy red mountain. Maggie could now see the other side. And on the other side, she could see her felt mouse friend a little more clearly. He was still trapped, but she was getting closer. Hope felt warm and red, just like her collection. She looked back at her work. There was the shiny, cool silver corner. And here was the cozy, warm red corner. The cluttered drawer was slowly becoming a tidy, organized home. Maggie felt a happy hum bubble up inside her. This was working. She was helping. She rolled through her new yarn tunnel, ready for the next color, ready for the next challenge. After wiggling through the soft, red yarn tunnel, Maggie found herself in a new part of the drawer. This area was filled with smooth, cool things. Felt calmer here. Looking ahead, she could see what was trapping her friend's other side. It was a jumble of things the color of the sky on a clear day, the color of a deep, quiet ocean. The color was blue. Maggie knew her task. She had helped the silver things find their home. She had helped the red things find their home. Now it was time to help the blue things. She let go of the warm, cozy red feeling. She took a deep magnetic breath and thought of blueberries and quiet rivers. A new pull began to stir inside her. This one felt calm and steady and cool. It was a deep, peaceful pulling feeling. Her internal hum became a low, soothing melody, like a lullaby. She was ready to search for blue. With a gentle hum and a calm blue pull, Maggie set off to make things wonderful. The first blue object she saw was right in front of her. It was a bottle cap, turned upside down like a tiny bowl. Its edges were crinkly, and its color was a bright, cheerful blue. Maggie focused her calm blue pull. The bottle cap was very light. It skittered across the wood floor of the drawer with a tinny scraping sound. It was like a little blue turtle racing toward her. It came to a stop in a new empty corner. This would be the blue corner. Her blue-seeking senses tingled again. What else could she find? A little farther away, partly hidden by a folded napkin, was a perfect, round sphere. It was glassy and smooth, and inside it, a swirl of dark and light blue danced together. It was a marble. Would she be able to pull it? It looked so smooth and ready to roll. She sent her calmest, steadiest pull toward it. The blue marble quivered, and then it began to roll. But it didn't roll straight toward her. It rolled to the left, bumped into a sleepy-looking peanut shell, and then rolled to the right. Oh, this was a challenge. It was a chase. Maggie had to move too, rolling along the drawer floor, keeping her blue pull aimed at the runaway marble. The marble rolled under a forgotten postage stamp and then came out the other side. Maggie kept her pull steady. It was like fishing with an invisible string. Finally, she guided the marble away from all the other things, into the clear space she had made. It rolled gently into the blue corner and clinked softly against the metal bottle cap. Two blue things, safe and sound. This was fun. Organizing was like a treasure hunt and a puzzle all at once. She looked around eagerly for the final blue object that was blocking her path. There it was. It was a block, a toy block, square and solid. It was a lovely, peaceful sky blue color. It was part of a small, tumbled-down wall of other blocks in different colors. She only wanted the blue one. This required a very precise pull. She had to be careful not to pull the yellow or green blocks that were leaning against it. She narrowed her focus, her magnetic hum becoming very fine and quiet. She aimed her pull right at the center of the blue block. She imagined lifting it straight up, then over. She pulled. The blue block wiggled. The yellow block next to it wobbled. Maggy held her breath. She eased her pull just a little, then pulled again a little to the side. The blue block slid out from the pile without disturbing the others. Success! It was heavier than the bottle cap and the marble, and it made a solid, woody thunk as it landed on the floor. She nudged it carefully over to the blue corner, where it rested next to the marble and the bottle cap. The path was clear. All of the silver things were in one corner, all of the red things in another, and all of the blue things in a third. The drawer looked beautiful. It was neat. It was tidy. It was organized. And best of all, there was nothing between Maggy and her friend anymore. She could see the little gray felt mouse clearly now. He was free from the clutter, but he was still stuck. His tail was pinned down by one last large object. Maggy rolled closer. The object was a big old safety pin. It was mostly shiny and metallic. It was silver. But its head, the part that covered the sharp point, was made of bright red plastic. And painted on that red plastic head was a tiny perfect dot of calm, cool blue. Silver, red, and blue. All in one object. Maggy's hum faltered. Her pulling feeling felt confused. Should she use her cool metallic silver pull? Her warm, cozy red pull? Or her calm, steady blue pull? She tried pulling with just her silver power. The metal pin wiggled, but the red head held it in place. She tried pulling with just her red power. The plastic head lifted a tiny bit, but the long silver body was too heavy. The blue dot was too small to pull on its own. A moment of worry washed over Maggy. Was this it? Had she come all this way just to be stopped at the very end? Would she be strong enough to pull all three colors at the same time? She looked at her beautiful organized corners. The shiny silver corner. The warm red corner. The calm blue corner. She had brought them all together. She had helped them. Maybe she could bring the colors together inside herself too. She thought of all three colors at once. She pictured the cool gleam of silver, the cozy warmth of red, and the peaceful depth of blue. She felt three different pulls start to swirl inside her. The cool pull, the warm pull, and the calm pull. They twisted together, braiding into one super strong rainbow-colored feeling of pure magnetic energy. Her hum grew louder and richer than it had ever been before. It contained the metallic clink of silver, the warm pulse of red, and the deep soothing note of blue all at once. She aimed this incredible multicolored pull at the safety pin. She pulled with all of her might. The safety pin lifted. It floated up into the air, perfectly balanced by the three colors pulling on it. It sailed over the little felt mouse's tail and landed gently on the floor a whole drawer width away. The little gray felt mouse was free. He wiggled his tail. He did a happy little flip. He scurried over to Maggy and nudged her gently, a silent thank you from one friend to another. Maggy looked around. The drawer was no longer a cluttered, confusing mess. It was a peaceful, organized home. Everything had its place. The silver things gleamed together. The red things glowed with warmth. The blue things rested in calm contentment. And in the middle, in the wonderful wide-open space, sat a tiny, happy magnet and her grateful felt friend. Maggy felt a deep, quiet joy spreading through her. Helping was a wonderful feeling. Organizing was a wonderful feeling. And knowing that you could do big, important things, even if you were very small, was the most wonderful feeling of all. As the day turned to draw dusk, the great wooden ceiling above slid open and then gently shut once more, rocking the drawer ever so slightly. As everything settled, Maggy, resting beside her friend, noticed something she hadn't seen before. Tucked away in the very, very back behind an old postage stamp was a tiny glint. It wasn't silver or red or blue. It looked like the color of fresh spring grass, sparkling and bright. A beautiful glowing green. What new treasures and what new colors might be waiting for her in the next adventure? A moral. Helping others and creating order out of clutter can make you feel happy and proud. Even the smallest person can make a big difference by being organized and persistent.